What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today, we're going to be talking about the C8 Corvette Z06 allocations. We're also going to be discussing a lot about the C8 Corvette ERAY and why it actually exists. Let's jump right into it. All right, guys. So as you may or may not know, on our Monday Night Live video, which was just obviously a couple days ago, we talked about the C8 Corvette Z06 and the allocations that were coming for March. Now, a lot of other YouTube channels, some of them are actually pretty well connected with dealerships, told you guys we were not getting any allocations for March. And that is, in fact, incorrect. Now, as of Monday on our Monday Night Live, I was telling you guys we are getting allocations and we're very likely to get them this Thursday, being today. And sure enough, we got some allocations today. So guys, like I said in the past, I do have a connection at GM that typically gets me information like this. In this case, I got this information from a couple different places. One of my subscribers let me know his situation with Sioka. Sioka was kind of telling them that it was going to be this Thursday. And I also had an inside source telling me we were going to get a few allocations this Thursday as well. While other people didn't necessarily know that that was the case, I had a pretty good feeling based on the knowledge that was coming in that we were getting some allocations. And like I said, we did. The good people over at the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum.com confirmed it today that the Z06 allocations were awarded today, and they go on to say that while we're still learning the amounts and whether they were small, moderate, or strong, it's good news that GM awarded some of its dealers Z06 allocations today. Constraint info isn't known yet either, but confirmed from one small/medium dealership that they were able to get carbon flash painted front spoiler and rockers for one of their orders. They are still digging around for precise information, but the fact that there are, in fact, Z06 allocations available is good news. I will, of course, put the link to the article at the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum in the description down below, so if you guys are interested in following along and finding out more information about the Z06 allocations as it breaks, check out that link down below. And as always, if you want to stay up to date on the most current C8 Corvette Z06 or ERAY information, be sure to smash that subscribe button below, hit the bell notification so you are always alerted when new uploads come up. That way, if you are waiting for one of these cars, you always have an idea of when those allocations are coming in for real. I wanted to really quick mention ProClip as the sponsor of today's video. Whether you have a C6, a C7, or a C8 Corvette, ProClip makes the mount that you're going to want for your car. It's an extremely easy to install system that does not require any kind of permanent modification, tape, or screws. It clips in and it can be removed as easily as it is installed. Like I said, it is a two-part system, meaning that it will have just the arm for the C8 Corvette that wraps around the back of the infotainment system, and then you will choose whichever mount best fits your phone to go on the front. The best part, you can actually save 10% just by using the code HPO10 and following the link in the description down below. Moving on to the next bit. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the C8 Corvette ERAY and why it actually exists. This is something that's come up on my channel a couple different times, and people have some questions or more so opinions about the car and how it fits into the C8 Corvette lineup. We know officially from GM, this car obviously sits in between the Stingray and the Z06 as kind of a gap filler there, but there's more to it than that. And it's interesting when you really start breaking down exactly what this car is and what it means for GM and what GM intended on it meaning to us. One of my favorite articles on the CorvetteBlogger.com is exactly this, and it actually breaks down a lot of good reasoning for why the C8 Corvette ERAY exists and what it was intended for. So if we head over to the CorvetteBlogger.com, the article is exactly that. It says, why does the ERAY exist? Because owners never take their high-performance vets to the track. That is it in a nutshell. We're going to get more into the nitty-gritty of it, but for the most part, GM decided to make the ERAY Corvette because it sits nice between the Stingray and the Z06, gives you the look of the Z06 and most of the performance of a Z06 without the track focus of the Z06. The CorvetteBlogger.com goes on to say that earlier we shared a quote from the executive Corvette chief engineer Tadge Jukter about the mission of the ERAY versus the Z06. Paraphrasing, he basically says the Z06 is a scalpel for the track, while the E-Ray is for everything else. Taj explained on the subject, and it becomes crystal clear that the thinking in the program has evolved with the direction of the C8. Instead of providing the highest performance car for the money, the goal now is to give Corvette buyers all the performance they want, but in a Corvette loaded with equipment that's more dedicated to their driving experiences. Here's a quote directly from Taj about that. He says, "Historically, as you moved up the Corvette line, you got more and more extreme performance. If you wanted to pay more for the Corvette, get a better one, you always got pushed into the performance realm. So some of our wheel-heeled customers check all the boxes and end up driving a car on racing slicks. And they're just driving back and forth to work. They never intend to go to the track. We only had that single stream, that single dimension to differentiate the cars. And it always put us in a little bit of a bind. We want to do a car that's super capable on the track, but we don't want to make it completely unlivable on the road. There's a lot of compromises there." So directly from Taj, you can kind of hear that what he wanted to create here was a car that was very similar to the Z06, had a lot of the similar characteristics, but didn't necessarily have to be a track car. Now, with the Z06 and the E-Ray kind of looking the same and having a lot of the same performance abilities, you're not going to have a car that doesn't really come alive until 8,000 RPM. That's something that's not really going to be feasible on your daily commute to work. If you want the Z06 and you're actually going to use it on the track, that is perfect because that's exactly what you want. But in this case, you want everything but the track focus of the Z06. That's where the E-Ray really shines. The article goes on to say that both the E-Ray and the Z06 provide similar performance and they start within a few $1,000s of each other. But how do you plan on driving it? If you're planning on taking a Corvette to the track, you're going to want a Corvette that can redline all the way up to 8,600 RPM and it wears super sticky tires. If you're the road trip couple who enjoys traveling and wants to extend their time behind the wheel into 3 or 4 seasons, you're going to want the E-Ray, which is basically what we've been saying this entire time. So the E-Ray is more for the daily driver. The Z06 is more for the track-focused nut. Jalopnik recently asked Taj about customers choosing the E-Ray over the Z06, and he said, "I'm hoping the people who should be in this car end up in this car. What I don't want to happen is for people to hear all this amazing stuff about the Z06. It's the greatest car in the world, and yet they don't really understand what a pinnacle performance car is like. They get in, and it's like, wait a minute, I thought they said this car rides smooth. It rides smooth for what it is, but you could get turned off on Corvettes by it. It's not for everybody. We want people to get the best fit for them. We think there's probably a lot of people who would be very happy with the E-Ray. There will be some people who buy the Z06 because you can't get the big carbon wing on the E-Ray. Some people, it's all about peacocking. They'll get that car. But at least we're offering them a pretty rational choice." Now, this is pretty interesting, actually, guys, because this is basically Taj saying for sure you're not going to be able to get the big wing on the E-Ray Corvette. I have not actually heard anything official from GM on this. And there was some rumor in the beginning that maybe the ZER package that's coming for the E-Ray would allow you to get that bigger wing, but it looks like it is official from Taj Jukter himself. The big wing's not going to be available on the E-Ray for a lot of different reasons. If you want a peacock, apparently you want to get that Z06. I like the choice of wording here because it really does imply that some people shouldn't even be looking at the Z06. They should be going for the E-Ray instead. But we all get what we want at the end of the day, and I really applaud GM for offering the options. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there are going to immediately get up in arms about how you can't really get these cars right now and all that stuff, but eventually, once these things are readily available, it is going to be nice to have the option that best fits you. So not all of us go to the track. Not all of us like high revving cars. Some of us prefer the sound of the more traditional 6.2 liter push rod engine, and if that's the case, the E-Ray is definitely for you. I've always been a guy about options, and the more options we're offered, the more all of us get exactly what we want, and it sounds like Taj is that same kind of guy. So, at the end of the day, which car are you going to choose and why? If you could get either one of them right now, are you taking the E-Ray or are you going to take the Corvette Z06? Let me know in the comments section down below which one of these two cars you would take now that you know all of the information about exactly why the E-Ray exists and who the car was actually built for. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's information. I wanted to get a video out to you real quick to let you know that there are some C8 Corvette Z06 allocations being pushed out to dealerships as we speak. So if you're waiting for a Z06 for the 2023 model year, you might be in luck. So check with your dealership, see if they got any allocations, because as you guys know, April 4th at 11:59 p.m. is the cutoff for the 2023 model year for the Z06. So if you don't get an allocation by then, you are not getting a 2023. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm going to have loads of Corvette information like this coming you are not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.